Thank you for joining us for From Idea to Implementation, a Ranked Choice Voting and Voting Systems Symposium. Session 9, a presentation by Dominion Voting Systems about the company's voting system and RCV capabilities, will begin shortly. My name is Chris Hughes, and I'm a staff attorney with FairVote and liaison with the Ranked Choice Voting Resource Center. I will be your moderator for this session. A few housekeeping matters are needed before we get started. Participants have been muted for this webinar to reduce audio interference since we have a large number of attendees. If you have technical issues, please use the question option to send a message to the organizer so we may try to assist. If you have a question or comment regarding the session, please type that message in the question box. Session 9 will be about 20 minutes, followed by a brief question and answer period. Questions we are unable to address during this live session will be answered in a follow-up document, which we will email to attendees and also post with a recording of this session on the Ranked Choice Voting Resource Center website within a couple of weeks of the symposium. Now let's welcome Chris Rohde, an intern with the Resource Center and FairVote, to introduce our presenter.
Thank you, Chris. For those who are not familiar with the Ranked Choice Voting Resource Center, we provide a compilation of best practices and first-hand experiences from jurisdictions that have used this method of voting with a focus on election administration, since that is our background. The website, www.rankedchoicevoting.org, and the overall project serve as resources for voters, election administrators, policymakers, candidates, and others. The Resource Center continues to evolve, as does Ranked Choice Voting. Both have gone from idea to implementation, and we hope that these resources and sessions help you and others improve our democracy and the content of our elections. Stephen Bennett, Regional Sales Manager for Dominion Voting Systems, will share the company's voting system and its capabilities for ranked choice voting. Dominion Voting Systems is an international corporation that provides voting equipment and election tabulation systems for elections around the world. It is operated out of its international headquarters in Toronto, Ontario, Canada since 2003, and bases its U.S. operations out of Denver, Colorado. I'll now turn the presentation over to Stephen to tell us more about Dominion and its voting system.
So I thank everybody again. I apologize for the delay, but let me take you through a little bit of what we've been doing at Dominion. I'm very excited about this. It is something of a great interest to me for the last 15 years, because for the past 12 years, Dominion, and formerly the company I work for, which was Sequoia Voting, has worked in the industry with significant counties, the city and county of San Francisco, as many of you know, and the county of Alameda that has San Leandro, Oakland, and Berkeley, all using our ranked choice voting system, currently under the certification of the Sequoia voting system in California. So we have a lot of history. And one of the great things in Dominion's world is that we focus on the customers and what the customers want and the customers' input. So over the last 10 years, we've done a lot of work to evolve the Dominion product to include ranked choice voting. One of the important things, before I get into the specifics of Dominion's system, to let you know, is that Democracy Suite is fully integrated with RCV and STV, single transferable vote. All of our in-person units, whether it's precinct tabulators or ballot marking devices or even DREs, and our central tabulation are fully integrated with ranked choice voting and standard transferable vote, meaning that whenever you run an election, you can run the ballots consolidated with standard elections and ranked choice voting elections, tabulate that information, and put out reports all from the Democracy Suite system. So we have tremendous amount of success in the ranked choice, running successful ranked choice voting elections for the last 12 years. So besides Alameda and San Francisco, we've done work with Pierce County, Washington, and recently we have been working with, as you know, the city of Santa Fe, New Mexico. There are, and I field questions from jurisdictions all over the country that are looking to move towards ranked choice voting and want more information from Dominion. So we have a lot of history and working with our customers to drive a solution that makes it easier for our customer to implement a unique method of voting, which is ranked choice. So over the past 10 years in our development, we've added the functionality not just into the tabulators, but also to the reporting mechanism. And it's very critical because it allows our customer base to utilize the system from end to end to run their current elections and add these additional functionalities as a jurisdiction chooses to use these. So Democracy Suite version 5.2 and higher have the full version of ranked choice voting. So wherever you're working or wherever we are operating in, we are certifying at a level at least 5.0 and higher. But if you want to understand whether or not we can do ranked choice voting at that in immediate time, it's 5.2 and higher. So in some cases in New Mexico, we certified 5.4. And again, it's fully integrated ranked choice voting and standard transferable vote, both of which are fully certified in our current version in California. And that's very important because there's a lot of movement in ranked choice voting, especially in the Bay Area. We made a lot of improvements, and a lot of these improvements were on process, and they're to focus on making the process more intuitive for the voters. As I know that you have been shared information about San Francisco, I think in the past day, you know that the ballot layout is complex. It was very much focused around the technology that currently existed. So in the Sequoia system, with the technology existed, we were able to do first rankings in first column, second rankings in second column, and third ranking in third column. And the max was 3 rankings. And that wasn't enough for the community, but it was what we had in the technology. So going forward in the Dominion world, we needed to improve, use what we have and the strengths of what we have and improve the product. So first of all, in the Dominion world, we're on paper. We're paper-based. We are imaging the ballots themselves. So every ballot that is cast is on paper. Every paper ballot that is cast is imaged. And every image is appended with what we call the audit mark. And the audit mark is an appending to the bottom of the image itself of the ballot, front and back, and then the audit mark, showing or depicting the textual representation of what the system or how the system interprets the voter's intent, to show you specifically what marks were made. And what the strength of that is, it's great transparency. So now today we can show voters how, or candidates, how they achieve their votes in a specific contest. So greater transparency and imaging, meaning that I have much more flexibility with the ballot. The Dominion ballot is a fill in the ovals. And so we were able to, first of all, improve the process of how we lay out a ballot to do a better job and to reduce costs for our jurisdictions. The system itself is very well tested. It's robust. And then, as I'll explain here, the tremendous amount of options. The first and the most important thing is the algorithm that is in our Democracy Suite system, or in our results tally reporting module of Democracy Suite, is based on a 50% plus 1 vote as a victor. And using that basis is what drives how the operation of the system will function. So ranked choice and the algorithm function, in RTR simply by data coming in from the ballots being run. When it's time to pull a report, simply hitting the button to run the RCV algorithm. And as fast as you, as a jurisdiction, are putting out your 805 or your 905 or 1005 reports for updated reports of the election on election night, you now in Dominion's ranked choice voting are able to hit a button and also report round by round at that immediate point in time during an election night. So it doesn't take any more time or energy to produce reports. The system starts with the ballot. The ballot now, as you're seeing ideas and designs from the Civic design, great ideas. It's something we've implemented a couple years back, where we have the flexibility of having the name of the individual with the ovals of first, second, third, fourth, and so on rankings. The system allows us to rank up to 10 rankings in any contest. So we went from 3 to expanding to 10, 10 is a limitation because you have a paper ballot, and there's a limitation to how much information you truly can put on a piece of paper. If we were all electronic, it would be unlimited, but we're not all electronic. Obviously, as we move forward in these election years, I think most people agree we're going to stay on paper. The paper ballot, as different jurisdictions utilize it in different needs across the states. In California, we need to put the voter or the candidate's name, their occupation, and their party preference. And if it's a county with a bilingual ballot, you are doing English Spanish, English Tagalog, English Chinese. So it takes up a much more space. But at the same time with that ballot layout, we wanted to reduce the need to have a second card or a separate ranked choice voting card. So ranked choice voting in Dominion's world is a contest, just like vote for president, vote for a supervisor, commissioners, county clerks, whatever it might be, it's a contest. So I can place it anywhere on the ballot that I need to place it. If I have multiple contests, I can place those multiple contests on the ballot anywhere on the ballot as well. So it's just another contest. As the ballots are scanned and interpret, the data for ranked choice gets moved in a bucket that will go to the algorithm. So I can run multiple ranked choice voting contests on multiple ballots in one election. A county can consolidate and run 3 different city elections, with ranked choice being in certain contests in those jurisdictions, and consolidate it up to the county at any given time. So we have tremendous flexibility that if you are going to run ranked choice, we want to make it easier, simpler, so that we can better serve the community that's asking for it. So again, I spoke about 10 rankings, the ballot layout, contests can be placed anywhere. Round by round reporting. And round by round reporting, what we want to do is not just report the data, but make sure it's very clear and easy to understand. And so if we could pull up the round by round reporting, which I pulled from the website of Santa Fe, New Mexico's past election, you can show that by round, you're going to see round 1, round 2, round 3. I think there's a second page as well, if you could show that. It will show you.
I only find one page to this one.
Oh, I apologize. There's another one that will show you the contest, and then each round showing where the ballots have moved. So as you have candidates that are eliminated and those ballots from those candidates redistributed in the vote, you can see where they move from and to from each round as it generates these rounds. Now, what's important in the flexibility of how you're running ranked choice is whether or not you're going to stop at 50% plus 1, because that could be in the first round, or as most jurisdictions ask us to do, is have the flexibility to go all the way down to 2 candidates. So you might have 5 or 6 rounds, eliminating everybody to the last 2, and that person might end up with 63% of the vote, but you'll get your majority. The other option that we have that's very popular is to give the ability of single or batch elimination. And again, that's just for the speed of the process of getting from round to round, doing the eliminations based on the algorithm and determining whether or not that candidate has a potential opportunity to win or not. And if not, they get eliminated and redistribute the vote. So we go through that process, and at the end of the day, you'll get the reports. So as opposed to what we did in San Francisco, where they would run all the ballots and hold off on reporting other than the first rankings, we now could push out a full round by round every hour on the hour on election day, on the day after, and subsequently through all the provisionals and all the mailed-in ballots that need to be tabulated can be completed and continue to update. So giving the community a better picture of where we are in these contests. What we did in the past was just show the first ranking and then waited till Friday before we start putting out round by round reporting. So by making the system, there it is, round by round, first round, second round, and as you can see the rounds as they move through, where the percentage of change of ballots had left and moved to, till you get to the end result of a victor of 50% plus 1. In this case, I believe, what do we have, a 66% victor. So What's really important to Dominion and to our customers is the ease of management. A lot of jurisdictions are asked to take this on, and because there isn't everybody as well versed in ranked choice voting, there's sometimes resistance to the change. So by showing a jurisdiction, whether it's a small city, a large county, how easy it is to operate. You're just running the ballots like you normally do and hitting buttons to push out the output. Gets an easier implementation. The implementation of our system is mostly mostly COTS systems. So tablets, computers, scanners are operating. It's easier to install, easier to operate, tremendous amount of transparency, and able to run the flexibility in ranked choice or standard transferable vote. One of the great successes that we've had recently, we've talked about, we've heard about it, is Santa Fe. Tremendous amount of work has gone in over years by many people to assist Santa Fe in running a ranked choice voting election. We're very proud of the work we've done. It was a difficult thing to accomplish. I am a true believer that no good deed goes unpunished, and I certainly was punished. But at the end of the day, we got what was needed. We took care of a community, and the reports back from the community through the newspaper reporting has been extremely positive. So with that, I'm open to take any questions that anybody might have regarding Dominion and our ranked choice voting.
So thanks so much, Stephen, for that presentation. That was really helpful to get us oriented for what Dominion has to offer. If anyone does have questions, please type them into the question box in the control panel. So we've got a couple already that I'll read out to you. The first one I think you covered, but I want to be sure that we're like crystal clear on it. Can the ranked and non-ranked races be on the same page, or do they have to be separated on the front and back of a ballot?
Now, in this new layout, you can have multiple RCV races or contests on the same page or on the same ballot, front and back. It's not, as you can see right here, this is a sample ballot layout. So again, ranked choice is a contest. Once it is entered onto the ballot or into the election, then it becomes an item on any given ballot. Again, how we do layout also will greatly be determined on a state certification. So some states have more guidelines towards instructions, and some have less control over how the ballot is laid out itself. But we could have multiples.
But you could theoretically have ranked choice voting and non-ranked choice voting races on the same side of a ballot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. This next one is an interesting question. Will there be a way to upgrade the AccuVote or your other legacy voting equipment to use ranked ballots?
So the current system in Sequoia does support ranked choice voting. It is the system 4.0 and higher. We use it in San Francisco and in Alameda currently. It was used in Pierce County, Washington. There is no ranked choice voting developed or designed on the Premier system. As some of you may know, Dominion had purchased the intellectual property of both Sequoia and Premier/Diebold. That was mainly to continue to support the community that are using that equipment. But because of certification and development, we cannot move forward with developing any new RCV platforms on the GEMS-based system. And more customers are moving towards the new era or the modern era of technology in elections, which is what Dominion offers.
Okay. And another one, does Dominion lease and or sell your equipment?
Absolutely. So we do a couple things working with our customers to help them obtain it. One we do offer is a purchase, pay the first year and license and warranties and support services. Dominion has, we offer what we call a managed service, or some people like to call it a lease, but that will take hardware, software, license, warranty, all election services over 6, 7, or 8 years. and we'll turn it into a single payment, making it a little easier for budgetary numbers to be met and controlled within the community. Leases are available, straight up leases, that's hardware. We'll work with any institution that's working with a jurisdiction to accomplish the goals of that jurisdiction, depending on what they are. Because financing is open.
Great. And can your RCV module use old data from your legacy equipment as well as data from the more modern stuff?
Tough question. Typically not. The way the data is generated in older technology using Optech-based information, and the way that it's captured, if I had to do it on old technology, it's done on Sequoia systems. So that data not necessarily does transfer. If a jurisdiction wanted to do something and was willing to pay, it's probably less expensive to move into the new technology than it is to have a development project to create the reporting that you might want from older technology. So it's hard to say, but the simplest, cleanest way is using the newer technology. And I'd also say this is that voting systems today are probably a quarter of the cost of what voting systems were back when HAVA 2003 through 2006. So looking at new technology and new systems, it's worth you to go out and find out from your vendors or from Dominion anyways, of what the cost of a new system would look like.
Okay, and we're just about running up at the end of our scheduled time. I think I'm going to go for a few more minutes just because we did have some technical difficulties at the beginning. If you can stick around for another 5 minutes.
Sure.
And we'll, of course, answer any of the other questions that we don't have the time to answer now in the Q&A document that we'll be sending around to everyone who attended today in a couple weeks. So one question I have from Dwight Shellman out in Colorado is, does the system provide results reports after each round in order to determine the round with the closest margin? Because that may be relevant for risk-limiting audits of ranked choice voting.
Well, it's an interesting question. So I can give the round-by-round reports to show, let me see if it's on this report here. Because each round, I'm showing you the percentage of win. And this is a difficult topic today because a lot of our customers are looking to do risk-limiting audits. And as I push the community in risk-limiting audits to come up with a methodology to handle ranked choice, this one's going to take some work to do. But this report in front of us right now does show us our percentage of victor or percentages of the vote per round per candidate. Is this what we're looking for?
Yeah, this does give us a start. I do actually have a follow-up. Does Dominion produce precinct-based round-by-round reports, so showing how the ballots in a given ranked choice voting election transferred in a particular precinct?
I could say that I have that data. We don't push it out in a current report that you're seeing here. This is your typical ranked choice voting report that our customer base has used and has continued to utilize. So I would need to get back to you on how we could pull the per precinct vote on ranked choice, because the ballots are coded with the precinct. I should be able to pull that report. I don't know I have a standard report to push it out for a ranked choice. That doesn't mean, so in the Dominion system, it has the flexibility in the reporting to pull up what you're looking for, but it might not be a standard report.
Right, that precinct by precinct report, I think, would be required by, if Alameda County followed the 1% auditing requirements from the Secretary of State's office. They currently don't audit their RCV elections, but if they did, they would need that sort of precinct by precinct report.
Right.
Let's see. And why, are you guys considering EAC certification? What is your plan for getting certified in more states?
Well, depending, we are currently in EAC certification in a version 5.5, which will open up the door and continue our certifications at the EAC. Those certifications will be focused and are focused on states that still require EAC certification. In other states that we're fully certified in, such as California or Colorado, that don't require EAC, or New Mexico, require a certain amount of testing and require the review of that documentation and further testing in each state. California, Colorado both do their rounds of additional testing as well. So we do business in 33 states currently. As we are moving forward with requirements gathering in each state, or where we have relationships that are interested in purchasing and we're moving forward towards a date, you'll see more certifications. I can promise you that in the territories that I work, we're certified. So if you're interested in ranked choice voting in New Mexico, Colorado, or California, or Hawaii, we'll be able to provide those services for you. In other states, all you have to do is let us know that you have interest, and we can move that up in the chain of command to make sure that we are achieving our certifications.
Great. I've seen one more from an activist down in Michigan. He's saying that his legislators are saying that Dominion hasn't been certified by Michigan for RCV. I understand that that would be outside of your area or your region, but is there someone at Dominion he could be put in touch with to talk to about that?
Actually, you should just be in touch with me, and I'll get you in touch with the people to get that done. But ranked choice voting was not part of the state certification at that time, and which is why it isn't certified. That doesn't mean that with a good relationship with the state, and for the state to come up with a test plan, different states have different methodologies. California goes ahead in their certification and tests all parts of the system. Colorado is going to take that on, I believe. Since Mr. Shulman's on, he'll know whether or not, or when and how we might do that certification. So everybody's done that a little different, but not everybody normally includes it as part of the process. So we just need to be more aware and then include that in the testing. And then the second piece of that is I have to make sure I know what is certified in Michigan, what version. So if you get a hold of me through email, I will get you that information. If you want to do it through this forum, I could certainly provide it that way as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much for staying on a few extra minutes to answer all these questions we had. Our thanks again to Steve and to Dominion Voting Systems and to all of our attendees for joining us for session 9 of the RCV Symposium. And thanks for sticking through our technical difficulties at the beginning of this session. I hope you all felt like it was worth it, because I thought this was a great session. We'll work with Dominion to provide answers to any of the questions we couldn't get to, including any that you want to email to us using the contact information that's up on the screen right now. If any come to mind in the next couple of days, that Q&A document will be posted along with our recording in the coming weeks on our website, www.rankedchoicevoting.org. And please join us at 4:30 p.m. ET for our final session of the symposium, which will take a closer look at the newly developed Universal RCV Tabulator. Thanks so much.